Payload, attack defend, capture the flag, king of the hill, maybe even manpower. Game modes we've all seen and played hundreds of thousands of times over with iconic maps like Two Fort, Dust Bowl, and Mountain Lab. But underneath the surface of the game and map selection, in the deepest, darkest depths of Valve's dungeon, lies a forgotten game mode, Arena. Initially seeing a lot of love and support until it was put on life support from the community, only to be completely neglected and forgotten, the Arena game mode was added back in 2008, featuring a fast-paced, high-stakes, one-life battle to the death, like a Black Friday sale. By killing all members of the opposing team or capturing the central point when it unlocks after a minute, you win. Maps are small in nature, allowing for combat to come quick and clear away cowards who like to casually creep in corners instead of being a man and fighting. Most of these maps are just slices of bigger maps, but a good portion of the arena maps are designed specifically for the game, such as Watchtower and Lumberyard. The smaller maps, fewer health and ammo packs, and one-life nature makes arena matches more calculated compared to other game modes, with every single decision greatly impacting the overall round. And here, we can see some of the faults in the foundation of the game mode. A couple words that describe the core of TF2 are charming, class-based, and chaotic. You have blast jumping, invincibility, just the worst teammate ever, and random crits. Compare this to a game like CSGO, whose core gameplay revolves around tactical, slow-paced decisions. Every decision greatly impacts the overall match, leading to a much overall slower and more suspenseful game. TF2's Arena mode, although not to the same degree as CSGO, is similar, leading to this core conflict between the game mode and the game. It's impossible to balance a slow, calculated, risk-taking game mode in a game as fast-paced and chaotic as TF2. It just doesn't work, which is most likely why people shunned away from it, with the biggest factor being the lack of respawns. You die in the game, you die in real life. From boredom. Although the nature of Arena aimed to be fast-paced, if you had a team with an engineer on it or a spy who loved to be the Frenchman he is, running from fights, matches could draw out for several minutes. The cap may have been opened, but most people typically saw capping as a sign of being bitchless. Dying and sitting out for one round is one thing, but there's also the potential to sit out for multiple rounds if your team lost. Arena is formatted to be 12v12 at the most. If you have an odd amount of players or on a community server that goes above that 12v12 limit, you're forced to sit around and watch as the other people play that entire round. Weapons that are annoying to fight against in normal TF2 only become 10 times more annoying when you can't do anything about them. The gunslinger and squirt shot being spammed, slowly sapping away your health, unchecked by the lack of health kits on most maps. The Razorback or Vaccinator shutting down your offense completely, or even the Dead Ringer laughing at the sheer idea of one life. The game mode has not aged well with the introduction of new weapons and balance changes. The lack of respawns as a result made most people turn away from the game, but even those who could stick it out still found issues with it that other game modes that use the arena formatting such as Versus X and Hail don't. For starters, there's the issue of teamwork. Versus X and Hail is less team-based than it appears. You're actively trying to kill the boss while also trying to outdamage everyone else for bragging rights. It's not about 12 coordinated commandos causing calculated carnage, but 12 competing chumps. Arena, on the other hand, requires those 12 randoms to work together against another team of 12, resulting in a much more competitive game with more people eye-rolling at the sheer idea of that. The lack of ammo and health kits also emphasize the need for supportive classes like Medic and Engineer. In a normal match, if the enemy has a Medic but you don't, it isn't as big of a deal. Just go dive bomb right in. Who cares if the pyro saw you? Just stab him. As long as the Medic died, it doesn't matter if you did. Arena mode laughs at this idea, and then spreads lies about it on Twitter. Medic remains the highest kill priority, but the one-life nature of the game means risking your life to kill the Medic isn't worth it since the risk is too great even for a gambler. This typically results in the two teams taking pot shots at one another, only to retreat and heal if it gets too close, extending and dragging out the game for the dead even more. And as TF2's average lobby is as communicative as a deaf blind guy, coordinating an attack is nearly impossible. The more competitive nature also clashes with the more casual aspects of the game. Imagine playing CSGO and all of a sudden the enemy's Molotov sets you on fire in real life too because it random crit. You'd be pissed and crispy. TF2's arena mode, however, thought that random crits were necessary in a high-stakes calculated game. What's worse than that, though, is the first blood mechanic.
First blood.
Which caused even more crit chaos and carnage. Getting the first kill in an arena match granted the killer guaranteed crits for 5 whole seconds. The match can go on for hours due to horrendous matchups, or last a mere millisecond, leading to this weird Goldilocks too long, too short match setup with none of it being just right. Support for the game mode fizzled out over the years, even with the attempts to reintroduce it back to the main game, only to fail. Arena does not work for TF2. But could it? Halloween of 2022 brought forth an interesting and unique restyling of the arena game mode that fixed its biggest problems. Being dead is boring, and the healthcare system rivals America's. Graveyard solves both of those by having dead players still participate and play the game by healing friendly teammates. You can take risks and still die, but instead of being punished and forced to spectate the round, you still actively help your teammates out, allowing them to take risks themselves. Gone are the constant stalemates, not just from this system, but because the round itself will end after 3 minutes. Of course, with the good comes the bad, since the cause of your death can still be from bullshit, random crits, HHH, or even spells. Still, it provides a perfect base model on how one can perfect the arena game mode and reintroduce it back into the main game. For starters, removing all the obvious dumb shit. No random crits, no random bullet spread, and no first blood bonus. For a game that invokes the word skill a whole lot, the concept of sheer random luck playing a part in it sorta disproves that. No infinite round timers either. Rounds will end after 3 minutes, resulting in a stalemate if teams have an equal amount of dead players, and a win if they have fewer. As people don't really care too much for the control point now, and stalemates are solved by bloodshed, the middle of the map needs a new function to motivate players to move towards it. The most brilliant one is the ability to respawn dead teammates upon capture. You might have to wait a while if you die, but nowhere near the lengths as before. This not only functions as a way to give dead players a new opportunity to keep playing, but also breaks potential stalemates that could occur if teams have an equal amount of players alive, further promoting the resurrection of dead players too. You get to keep the fast-paced nature of Arena while removing the downtime of being dead, the issue of infinite time, and the struggle of stalemates. Would it work? Maybe. Unless you look like this guy, I don't think my answer of making Arena mode acceptable will ever be answered for sure.